Here at Ngozi Talk Shows and Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency. So with me today, I have Happy Moyo and we have Shireen Lovegroove and Kamal. So today we're just talking about the matchmaking world and what is matchmaking and who is Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency. And these guys, they are on both sides, matchmaking and Ngozi Talk Shows as well. So we're just going to talk about the process of what we do at Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency. So who is Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency? The agency offers a truly international matchmaking experience operating in all major metropolitan areas of United Kingdom and a wide selection of other countries as well. We cover Zambia, South Africa, Kenya, and Europe and in the US. So today we're just going to give you a little bit of what we do, what Hope Springs Eternal Introduction Agency can do for you and the coaches as well. So our audience are single individuals who are seeking serious relationship or a serious relationship or long-term relationship, either way. So normally our clients are typically busy professionals who don't have the time to actually search for a partner on their own, and they are actually willing to invest in a personal service so they can actually find that ideal partner. The services are exclusive and is expensive, I have to say that, it's making more accessible to high net individuals who are looking for high quality customized matchmaking experience. But also at Hope Springs Eternal Introduction Agency, we also do the coaching as well. We do coaching if you are somebody who is in a relationship or if you are somebody who is stuck with anything in your life, the journey of your life. So we have those facilities for coaching as well. So you can enter the room for coaching, or if you are single, you enter the room for matchmaking, and matchmaking also we have to coach you as well. So you're going to hear from these guys what they do and the process. The process, it sounds glamorous when we talk about matchmaking. Somebody would think, oh, they just get glamour and they just go and do the work. It's a very, very challenging job because somebody hands over their life and say, give me my desires. And we then have to provide for them. So over to you, Kamal.
Thank you very much, Nomsa, for that introduction, and to our speakers. So talking about relationships, as a life purpose coach, my job is to clarify what purpose is. And in order for us to understand what our relationships are going to be and how they're going to be set up, we, in a sense, need to understand our own reason for existence. Since very few people understand that, usually they dedicate perhaps their purpose into career orientation or family orientation, and they forget that the bigger picture is actually including purpose in every area of our lives. And so through life purpose coaching, we look at very specific areas, which are mainly values, core values, if I may say so, how they're shaping us, how they motivate us. The next part is our focus areas, the areas that one wants to focus upon during this journey. And of course, setting up goals, which all coaches will talk about. When we talk about the values, these are the motivational reasons behind every action and behavior that we have. Now, if we don't understand our values, we don't know how to set up our areas of focus. And if we don't know how to set up our areas of focus, we kind of don't know what kind of goals we can set. So by creating midway through the coaching process of life purpose, we create something called a life purpose protocol. Call it your motto, how you want to live your life. And by including this life purpose protocol in each area that you want to focus on, so in your career, in your family, and especially your relationships, intimate and friendships, and all other areas that one wishes to include this purpose, creating a more fulfilled and successful, in general terms, lifestyle. So that's what we do in Life Purpose. I'll pass over the mic to Shireen.
Thank you, Kamal. Thank you. And great to be here, and also because it's such a wonderful topic, and I know that exactly what we're trying to do in essence of how we're going to help people become more who they need to be. Yeah, it's really interesting, because when we talk about when your clients come to see you to be match made, I think that one of the things that often people forget is that whenever we go into a relationship, we just jump into them, and we don't necessarily think about what we want from a relationship. How do we want to be in a relationship? And what would that look like in 5 years' time? You know, all of these kinds of things. What often happens, I think, is that, you know, people so want to belong to someone. And I know when I hear young girls, certainly, and I remember when I was young, there was this longing to have a husband. There was this longing to be part of something, you know, a close-knit group. And that really meant that I didn't get to really explore myself, right? My dreams, my aspirations, my wants, my needs. And very often, you know, we've grown in a culture. And when we grow in a culture, we carry a lot of the beliefs that culture brings with it. And that may not necessarily be right for you. I mean, what you do, even your family and your friends, they may not be the way you think about things. And so therefore, when you meet someone, you might think, you get really excited in the first short period of time in the honeymoon period, and then things start to crop up. And that's when all those things that you might kind of not really like, they start to come into play. And then you're caught, because you feel you want to stay and you want to leave at the same time. And it gets really, really confusing. So part of what I do as a pregnancy and infertility coach is really start working with building a mother up, because most mothers still have a lot of the conditioning, and most of the complications that come are a result of our social conditioning, the result of how we think about how relationships should be. And we pass those on to our children. So I really want that, that mothers learn to really get to know who they intrinsically are and how they can be the best mother for their child. And most mothers don't think about that. And so when we go into relationships, one, you'll have a relationship with your child, you have a relationship with your partner. It really is about looking at what you want in that relationship. What are your negotiables? What are not? All of these things are so important when you begin a relationship. So this is what we do here in Hope Springs. We really look at definitely always look at your purpose. What is it that you desire? And create some pathway towards that. So yeah, I've kind of just said a little bit about what we kind of do here on this bit. Happy, would you like to talk a little bit about what you do? You're on speaking.
You're still muted.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, yeah,
lovely.
yeah,
Hello,
yeah, she's fine
everyone.
now.
Nice to meet you. It's my first time here, so excuse me.
Was it me who muted you? Sorry. Happy, you are muted. Yeah, do you want to unmute
I've
yourself?
done it now.
There you are.
It's done now. Yes, sorry about that. Yes, so forgive me. I'm new on here today, so I'm very nervous, and I was given an
Short notice. I gave her 45 minutes. Happy she's
Yeah,
new.
so I'm just going
Just to
very-
clarify, she's new here at Ngozi Talk Shows, but she's been with the Hope
I've
Spring
been with you from the beginning.
Introduction Agency for 5 years.
Yes, so yes, I'm very new, as in talking on here. But yeah, so I'll be very brief. I do just helping with the styling of people that want to do a lot of bigger people, celebrities and that. But generally, for here, I'm here to just help people that want to look a certain way, to go for dates and be confident. I think that's what it's about for me as a stylist consultant. I think it's more about helping people when they're going on that date or they're going out to feel amazing, regardless of how they're feeling on that day or what they're wearing, but it's just for them to feel comfortable. So I deal with a lot of brands, but basically with this sort of stuff, I like to do with the high street, so we can sort of work with that. So it's not all about expensive, high-end product. It's more about just what people feel comfortable in and what they are wearing. So it's about just providing that advice on what maybe people could choose and what suits their body style and body shape and what they feel comfortable in. I think that's the main reason of why I do this, because I like to feel happy with what I'm wearing when I go on a date. I want to feel comfortable, and I just that's I think that's the main thing. It's not about impressing anyone. It's about just feeling good in yourself and feeling comfortable. And I think when I was younger, I used to feel, like I had to dress a certain way to be, because I'm going a certain place. But I think now, as I've got up in age, I think it's good to feel comfortable. And as long as you're comfortable and you're happy within yourself and you feel confident, I think that will sort of showcase on that date, if that was the case, or a meal, or just going out with friends. So it's not particularly, for dates, but it could be for anything that people are going for, family events, weddings, or anything like that. It's just making people just, understand about what they need and helping them to do that. So my main aim is just to understand the client and what they need and what their relevant purchases needs to be. So it's just about a back and forth sort of relationship, if you might say, because it's if they might feel good about something or what they're wearing on one day, and then the following day they might think, no, I'm not really fancying this. So it's about being adaptable and just making sure that the styles and the suggestions that have been provided are just meeting the client's needs. And as long as they're comfortable, I'm happy. I think that's the basic sort of line of it, really. Everyone's got different styles and what they feel comfortable in, and you just take everyone as they are and try and make them happy and comfortable for whether it's date or whether it's just going to the movies. And all of those things change depending on where they go in. So if someone is going for the movies and someone is going for the festival, all of the styling can depend on that and what the person fancies as well, because some people would like something a bit more out there and some people like to be a bit subtle. So I think it's more about just making sure that everyone's comfortable with the styling that that I've assisted them in sort of choosing. But I've always, the client's sort of perspective comes first, and I just assist as moving forward. So I don't really sort of put out my object or any objections or my ideas. It's more about them telling me how they feel and me just sort of helping them moving forward with whatever that is. So I think my bit is a bit more open-minded, isn't it? So there's no right or wrong answer. It's just about dealing with people and what's best for them and what they want, really. And I just assist in that.
Yeah, because I think with some dating coaching, they say you have to wear this when you go on date. There's certain colors. But for me at Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency, I always let the clients lead their lives, because it is very, very important when you actually let somebody understand their true authenticity and just guiding them through. Our job is to guide somebody through, not telling them what to do. And also the importance of compatibility as well is very, very important. Like Kamal was talking about values and beliefs are very, very, very important. We take all that very, very serious when somebody tells us their values, and when somebody tells us, we have to understand why they believe the things that they believe. And like what Happy does, her job is like having a buddy, somebody that you go out and they don't criticize you, but they guide you through. She uses psychology to actually make somebody unleash their true authenticity, not to actually control, to say, no, you need to wear this when you go on dates. Because at the end of the day, I can tell somebody to do this, but when they go out, they're the ones who are going to feel the dress. They're the ones who are going to feel these high heels. They're the ones who are going to feel the makeup, everything. So we won't be there. So we just guide them through. And Shireen, as well, you mentioned that the culture, and there are some childhood attachment that we carry them from our culture. And some people were raised by seeing parents controlling, and when they go on dates, they want to control everything. So we help our clients unlearn things, adapt to the situation. When you go out, instead of meeting somebody and you judge them straight away, so we just help them through, understand that dating is more for fun. And it's more because what is important is the connection. Where there is no fun, there cannot be connection. If somebody goes out and they're not having fun, and they're actually, and also communications as well, because you have to be able to communicate with the person you meet. And I always say to my clients, if you go out the first date, and let's say that person, you like them, but you're not sure, you say there's no spark. And then I'm like, on the first day, how do you know? Because there's so much going on. When you go on a first date, you're like trying to, that person to actually like you, or you're trying to, sometimes people, they do that, but you don't have to make somebody like you. So there's nerves, or some people have not been on dating for a very long time. So I always say to my clients, why don't you go back second time instead of just quitting on the first? But if there is no connection or anything, if somebody says, you know what, there is nothing, I can't connect with that person, then I'm like, okay, that's fine. But if there is not sure, I'm like, why don't you try a second date and see what happens? Because the first time, everyone is nervous. They introduce themselves. So there's so much going on. But the second time is more relaxed. So you can actually tell if you still feel the same way. It's like, I don't think so. Then you're 100% sure that you don't think so. So I think those are the things that are important, that family values at Hope Springs Eternal Introduction Agency, that we really, really, and also the other thing that is important is if the clients connect with us. It's very, very important, because if somebody joins and they're going to stay with us for 6 months and they're really not connecting with the staff, what is the point? There are some, just because you have money or you can afford the matchmaking, it doesn't mean you have to stay with Hope Spring Tenant Introduction Agency. Sometimes we refuse clients and send them to other agencies as well because of the connection. And mostly is the people that, there are some people who are wealthy, they have money, but when you tell them that you need to do coaching, they're like, I don't do coaching. I am wealthy and everybody's gonna like me. I'm like, I don't think so. You have to have coaching, because at the end of the day, when divorce is presented to you, you lose everything. So you have to, and Kamal, your own opinion, what do you think the coaching helps our clients? Because that's where mostly men that they normally refuse coaching.
Yes, you are absolutely right. Like the majority of men will refuse coaching because sharing of feelings and all of that. But there is an ongoing trend, and I'm hoping to say an ongoing awakeness to the fact that everybody at a certain point of their life needs coaching or needs therapy even, right? And it's good to talk to somebody that either has been through that process or knows the process because they're educated, because they know what they're talking about. And so when we talk about allowing yourself to talk with somebody, with coaches especially, or psychologists, the idea is that most people, and I'm going to say in a very, very large number here, approximately 90 to 95% of people, everybody, is not capable of personal accountability. And one of the greatest reasons why there are so many books, there's a plethora of books on self-help, but nobody does anything, is because people cannot be accountable for their actions. They don't know how to be accountable for their own actions. Very few can. And so, and you can see that in how many people do you know that go for New Year's resolutions, and after 13, 14 days, that's it. The New Year's resolution goes out the window. This is proof of what's happening to people. And so a coach is a friend. Sometimes they are a mentor. Sometimes they are a leader. They're a companion, and they're there to support you and hold your hand. And in most coaches that I know that we've worked with and all of that, I know that we don't give answers. We present questions. We present ideas so that the person in front of us, the client, can think for themselves and find those solutions because they are there. And so accountability is what we create. Now, a client comes in and they talk, yeah, I'm going to go through the coaching. Okay, fair enough. You got a big mouth. Let's see what you do, right? Here are the actions. You need to do that. These are the steps. Yeah, I was tired. I couldn't do it last week. You know what? A few things came up. So what? You didn't have 5 minutes just to sit down on your bed before going to bed and say, oh, thank you very much for allowing me to have a wonderful day. You see, this is what we're talking about. Somebody that is capable of sitting in front of another person and telling them, look here, what's happening? Are you ready to do the work? Are you willing to do the work? Because yes, we're here to help people, but we're not here to help everyone. We're here to help those that want help and that are willing to do the work necessary. And so this is my own perspective of why we coaches are here and why we do our job. And we love it. And I mean, I know I wake up, and I know Shireen, for instance, she wakes up as well the same way. I'm going to coach today. It's not a job anymore for us. It's a passion for us. This is part of our purpose. And so we do it because we enjoy it. We love helping people, especially those that want help and that are willing to do the work. Because a lot of people also come in and say, yeah, we want help, but all they want is attention. And so they're not willing to do the work. Shireen, I'll give you the mic because I'm sure you have a few pointers here as well.
Yeah, it's such an interesting thing, accountability, isn't it? Because accountability often is seen as something like we grow up in the way we're conditioned is to believe that we must punish And so when we think about accountability, we often think that it's a kind of a punishment and it's running some of these unconscious behaviors. But if we learn, and certainly with coaching, because coaching really, and I mean, I'm also a psychotherapist, but I always was a different kind of psychotherapist. I always kind of used coaching in my therapy because I really felt that we, as humans, we move forward. We're goal directed. We plan all the time. And so therefore we need to work with that kind of intrinsic part of us. And one of the things that I really started to kind of focus on certainly was really, how do I help this person unfold? So get to those parts where they start to unfold, that they change from the inside out. You know, when someone comes to us, I see it like they've got a sore, right? They've got a sore, a wound. And for any of you that are not medically trained, you can't just heal a wound. You can't just sew it up. Basically, if you did that, the wound wouldn't heal inside. The skin would heal on the top, but nothing will heal inside. What you've got to do is allow the skin or the wound to heal from the inside out. And this is what happens. We have to work with people so that they start to go into those places where we find those beliefs, we find those patterns that are causing problems, so that we can start doing the healing right at this level, so that it starts to build a scaffold, so that we lay those foundations, so that when the wound does heal, it's healed properly. It's healed properly. So this is really one of the things that I think as a coach, I kind of see that. I immediately go, where is the wound, right? Where are they wounded? What are the beliefs? What environment? And Namsa talked about, you know, some of the environment that people come in. What is the environment they're coming with? If someone's rich and he just thinks that this is what it is, it's because he's come from an environment where that belief is there. You have to challenge that belief. And one of the things I heard you say, Namsa, which was absolutely, well, what happens when you get divorced? Because what do you think is going to happen if you keep behaving like this and you do no work, or you do, yeah, it's unlikely someone is going to fall out of love with you pretty fast. And then you're going to pay with even more money. Right? So it's really about, let's get to the bit that's so important. And one of the great things, and I think if we're, as a coach, it's really our job to find how to get to that surface, right? To build that rapport and to be able to, you know, you've got to match. Is someone very deadly serious, or are they actually kind of, do they take jokes better? So you've got to match. What are they? Where are they? And when you do that, you find a place, a sweet spot, where most people will start to build that kind of relationship where you can ask even more challenging questions, because you have to get to the deep truth. If you don't get to the deep truth, they are never going to change. So one of the things that I really kind of, when I get to the deep truth, I have them make a statement. I would rather do this than have that. I would rather stay and spite someone than actually move ahead with my life. I'd rather hold on to this regret than move on with my life, or whatever it is. But if you get this kind of conflict statement and you give them that, often the moment when you've kind of said, you look and you see, oh my God, something's happened. And that's the moment when they kind of know, hey, there's a truth here and I'm going to have to do something about it. And then often your job is a lot easier. Often their accountability becomes much, much better. But you've got to get to that level. And that's what coaches do, isn't it? Coaches find that sweet spot. And it may take a couple of sessions to even just get to where the sweet spot is before you can start doing the building, right? Sometimes with a wound, you have to cut away. You have to do something what we call debride. You've got to debride the wound so that it bleeds a little bit, so that you can form healthy tissue. This is what we're doing, right? Sometimes that happens, but it's always done in a safe environment. It's always done with absolute respect for you as a human being, particularly what are your beliefs? What culture do you come from? What are the stories you carry? Because these are so important. We need to match that. We need to be able to know a little more about what is in those cultures. So it doesn't matter who we are, that's what we should be doing. And as a coach, I really love it. I love asking those kinds of questions. You know, how come that is? Well, yeah, what did you find out there? So these kind of things, and add that kind of excitement so that people see that actually a new life is very exciting and it can be really, really fulfilling. So Happy, I'm really curious about your dress, how you help people dress up, because that, for me, that is such it can be worn as body armor, or it can be worn as showing our absolute true self. So I'd be really curious a little bit more about how you do that at Hope Springs.
Mute yourself, Happy. While Happy's trying to
I've done it now. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm doing Zoom, but I'm doing it from my phone, so it's a bit different because, like I said, yeah. So basically, I started making clothes at a very young age of about 7 years old. I made like little doll dresses, and I've had a machine since I was 8 years old. So I'm very passionate about making clothes. I teach people in where I live now for this in Kansas to make clothes. So it's a passion of mine. So from that, obviously, it's led to where I am today, because I love just the look of clothing, how they feel on you and what fits and all of that. I think that's just sort of makes me happy to see someone else wearing something that I've made, even if I've made it, that they're happy with it and comfortable with it. So I think that's where where I've come from with the being a stylist consultant. I think it's just that feeling when others are just happy and they're going out there comfortable, and I just think that's where the sort of the passion has come from, really. I think there was a few experiences in my life as a young lady that I had people that didn't appreciate of my style. Maybe they thought it was quite conservative, because I tend to dress sort of in a conservative style, and you were saying about values and cultures and things like that. So that sort of goes against my culture, because we dress a bit differently, we cover up a bit more. But obviously more on this side of things, with this Western side, but I still try and dress even conservative with that as well. And I think, like I said, with my experiences, the past relationships, I got not so nice comments, maybe negative comments about how I look or about how I dress, and just got things like, oh, that doesn't look good on you, or that doesn't. And I've thought to myself, but if I feel comfortable in wearing this, why should it matter so much? And I think that's where I realized that was sort of a turning point for me, to realize that actually you can't please everyone out there, as long as the person feels very confident, comfortable, and they're going out on a date or going out for a meal or whatever, going out to the cinema. So it's all exclusive. It's just what you feel comfortable in. And I think that made me be passionate, because even now, and as much as I still think I've got a sense of style, I still get people have come out and people look at me up and down, and I think, I'm happy with it, but the other person doesn't look pleased with it, or they don't comment on it. So I do appreciate, and I do realize that when we go into the big world, there is a lot of pressure about how people come across and what is expected. But I just don't think it matters. I really don't think it matters. I just really believe 100% that it's all about looking good, wearing something that fits your body shape, that you're comfortable. I don't tell my clients what to wear and how to wear it, but I give them ideas, and they say, well, I prefer dress, I prefer jeans, I prefer a big coat, I want to cover my arms, all this sort of stuff I take into account with that. And then I sort of assist them moving forward to, obviously, to where they want to go. And I just don't think anyone is any expertise to tell anyone what to wear and what they should feel comfortable in. So I think that for me is why I do this. I'm quite passionate about that, because I just feel like I know what I'm comfortable in, and I just think that's all that matters. And I think the same with anyone else or any other client or anyone who's going out for a date. I couldn't tell them what to wear. I couldn't say, well, this fits you better. I can give them the options, and they tell me what they're looking for, what's best suited for them, and we'll work with that. So it's a two-way thing. It's never me telling them what's right and what's wrong, and you can't do this and you can't do that, because it's all different. And obviously we have we can forward them to places like, even with the hair. I mean, I'm not a hairstylist or anything, but I can always say, well, these outfits will suit with a hair, a ponytail, or this sort of stuff. And then they can go to that person to sort of get the rest of the advice. So I don't try and infringe on what I think is right and what I believe is right, because I come from a different environment. Like where I come from, our dressing sense is so different. And I'll tell you, we didn't grow up wearing all the revealing stuff. Everything was all conservative, all covered up. Not so much now, but back then it was. So I would not like to infringe that on anyone else at all. So I think for me, it's more about what the person feels comfortable in, and that's the main objective of it, and just respecting their values and what they believe in, because it might not sort of make sense to me, but it's about taking what their values are and what they believe in, and that's more important really than anything. I think that's the first thing that I asked, is just, what are they expecting? Because I can't just go in and say, oh, well, for a wedding or for this or for that date, you need to wear that. I can't really infringe on those values and objectives. I need them to sort of give me that information, then I can help them moving forward.
Yeah, I love that, Happy. But what we don't allow at Hope Springs Eternal Introduction Agency is when you meet somebody and you wear cleavage. So we don't allow that, because it causes distraction when somebody goes out. We we'll make sure that you are covered on a first day and second day, because that man needs to like you for you. There are some people who wear cleavage because they believe that men, it will impress a man. So we don't do that, because we don't want to send different signals. Because what we do is, when you go out to get to know somebody. And when you get to know somebody, if the boobies are out, so somebody will be getting distracted with the boobies and turning the poor men on. So we don't want to do that. So we want the boobies to be covered. So that's why I'm really, really, with my clients, I'm very, very strict with that. I always say, when Happy she's working with my clients, I say, please, I do not want anything that is out. Or even with the bottoms, you have to wear something that is comfortable and something that is going to make the man, because the beauty comes from within. That is going to men want to be with you. Not is going to make, when you turn up, oh, okay, the mind is somewhere else. So the mind needs to focus on the values and beliefs and the connection as well.
Yeah, we're easily distracted. We
don't want the distraction. So I always say to my clients, and I always say to Happy, please, when you go out, to make sure whatever you guys buy, it does not have to be the cleavage where somebody. Yeah, I don't know whether have you seen my picture that I shared yesterday on Facebook? Actually, my boobies are actually out. If I was If I was actually to meet, I always look at that picture as like, because I used to dress that way, thinking that I'm going to attract a happy. Yeah, she used to help me to actually get shopping, like styling and stuff. And by her rules were, Nomsa, you don't wear. I wasn't allowed to wear something in a different events. If I I wear something in an event, it has to stay in the wardrobe. And at the time, I couldn't understand. I was like, why am I not allowed to wear it twice?
Yeah.
And she goes, next time we go, you're not wearing that same thing because you earn money. So you need to go and buy proper clothes. I was like, okay, then. But so what I try to tell them when they go shopping is please no cleavage, because a woman has the brain, a man needs to fall for that true connection. She needs to do the process, go through the process of this connection, and one day look at that woman and say, I found what I've been looking for. Not something that is going to cause the destruction, and then he ends up getting confused and the woman ends up taking advantage. So we don't do that. So, and the clients, they do agree that when we discuss about what to wear, that please, whatever you do, no cleavage. And the men, they know that. And the alcohol, we don't allow alcohol as well. First date, you can have your glass of wine or maybe one bottle to share if you drink, but alcohol drinking, making somebody drink so they can do things they don't agree with. So we don't allow that. So those are the things that there are some things it's actually on the contract. So if you get somebody drink and sleep with them, if you pay 20 grand, you get terminated, the contract gets terminated, and you won't get a refund, because we have to protect our clients. And when we do protect our clients, we need to make sure that everyone is being treated fair, because there are some people that will go out and take advantage of alcohol, using alcohol to actually get somebody to bed. So all that is written when a client register. There is a process and procedure where you have to follow. And also they are covered, the clients are covered with the Peninsula, which is a health and safety when they go out. The minute they sign the contract, when they go out for dating, so there's a number on call whenever they have a problem that they can call for health and safety, or if there is an accident, they are protected. And even our coaches as well, I have to give you guys that number, so you guys have the number. We've done the process the other day, so everything is just there. So if the client was to go, going on a date, there has to be document in place for them, specific for health and safety that is created, and that covers the coaches. And if the clients or anything happens, immediate actions will be taken straight away, but it will just go up, not in our hands. So all that they are protected, so that you guys know. And what else does the Hope Spring doesn't allow? And we hold your hands when you go through that. When you come to us, the mindset we have is you need our help. So through those dark times, we hold your hands until the end. So the coaches, they are aware of their responsibilities. When you say you register at Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency, you are in good hands. I'm not just saying it, but if you were to actually work with Kamal or work with Happy or work with Shireen or anybody else, I always say before you report or you go and write your review, make sure that you actually sit down and tell these guys and say, but on that video, always make a reference or what you were promised and say on the video, it says you're going to help me this way. And also there are some clients like coaches, like let's say if you work with another coach and you don't get along, so you are allowed, instead of making a complaint, you are allowed to request a different coach. those are the things that we work together as a team with the clients to make sure that everybody is happy. Of course, we cannot make everybody happy, but we try our best. So that's why when you come and say you're going to pay the money to join a matchmaking introduction agency, it's our job is not to control you or not to take over your life or tell you what to do. We just use the psychology, science to make sure that we guide you through where you need to be. Because I can tell you, relationships is not easy. To select somebody, you have to think, this person I'm going to spend the rest of my life. Before, I don't know about you guys, I know before we used to speak with a happy, I used to be like, oh, a man has to have a good job and that would be enough for me, good looking, that driving a nice car. But now if I was to go on a date, the car that you drive, it doesn't matter. The job that where you work, it doesn't matter. What you do, it doesn't matter. I need to know that this person, am I going to be able to actually be happy and communicate and also take this person to my family? So those are the things that we help our clients. And also happy you were talking about, we live in a very, very judgmental world. And yes, when it comes to what you wear, it has to be something that is comfortable for you. Something, because when you step outside, you're stepping, those footsteps, they are yours. So when you wear the high heels, or whether you are a man, when I met Martin was wearing these shoes, and I look at these shoes that he was wearing, I was like, what now? So then I went quiet and I was like, I'm not going to judge the poor guy. Let me just get to know him. And I'm glad that I wasn't a judgmental person, because he's a nice person. But then in the following date, when we went on the date, he realized that he's got to wear something. And then he was like, Nomsa, what are you wearing? So I was like, why are you asking, why am I wearing? Because I need to compliment with what you're wearing, what you're wearing. And he was like, if you've seen my shoes, and like, tell me about it. And then we started talking about the shoes. So he explained to me that, listen, these shoes, they are very, very comfortable. They look like granddaddy's shoes, but it's those shoes you get them from Clark's. They're like at the front, they have like leather something, but they're a little bit wide, and they have laces, shoelaces, so you can. And he was like, they're comfortable. These are the most comfortable shoes you could ever have. So that's why I like wearing them. But when I'm dating somebody, I like to make an effort. So I was like, oh, you're talking my language now. So then that's why I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm wearing this. And in that way, you're not judging anyone. And I think that is important, because I did the same with one of my clients as well. She happened to meet somebody online, and she was like, Nomsa, I don't like his house. And I was like, what now? What's the house got to do with dating? I was like, it's not glamorous. And she was like, I don't like the car. And I was like, what is the car got to do with the dating? She was like, but everything is got to be ready for me. I was like, no, it doesn't. So I said to him, some men are more laid back. When they are on their own, they don't see a point of making an effort. They make an effort in looking, but with a house, they just live in a normal house. They don't need to do it up or anything. But if a woman comes along, they will do it. And I was like, just go on a second date, give the guy, forget about the house, forget about the car. Now, when I see her on Facebook, she's so happy. The guy has turned out to be Mr. Right, and she is even a coach now. She went to Tony Robbins and did her training, certified, and she's a coach. But when I met her, she was attending, like she had paid $5,000 for coaching, and then she was about to pay 20 grand. And I was like, why are you paying 20 grand for? And she was like, because I feel I'm not meeting anybody. I feel that I need to pay. So I was like, I said something, one word. And that word is sticking to her. And I was like, you have to stop paying money to people because what you're searching is within you. Nobody, you can come, keep going back and pay and pay and pay. But if that thing inside is not fixed, you are the one that needs to fix it. And she was like, I'm actually, she's one of the top bankers, and she just wants everything to be perfect. Everything, like you have. You want everything to be perfect. Yeah, when we were coming here, she goes, the container, I was like, have you ever met the perfect word? So she was like, everything has to, I'm a perfectionist, Nomsa, you know. I was like, oh God, you just come online, please. So I'm sure, Kamau, you know what I mean? Like if somebody meets you, the important thing is to accept you for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest falls into place.
That's very true. That's very true. And that's where all that, what we're talking about, what Shireen is talking about, what Happy and you are talking about, is that self-acceptance, that part where, you know what, I'm okay with who I am this way, and I'm not going to change for anybody. And that's one of the things that a lot of people that get into relationships, they think that they'll be able to change the person in front of them. That doesn't work. I don't know how many times, like so many people, psychologists, psychiatrists, coaches, speakers, famous people have said it, and it's still not sticking in the head of people. You cannot change somebody that doesn't want to change. It's that simple. And you are right, Nomsa. You know what? I'm a very laid back guy. But like, you come into my house, I would never be able to, like, never. I would, if I invite somebody over here, after a date or after drinks, or we're sitting down to have a coffee or whatever, I said, look, yeah, you're going to accept how it is. This is how I live. If we're going to live together, it's a whole different thing. You can do whatever you want to with the interior, as long as I agree with it, because like I come from like a background that knows about antiques and antique collections. So I do have my input. But that's just the way it is. We're simple. Nomsa said it, men are simple. We can have a couch and a TV, and that's it. We don't need more, maybe a bed just so that we can lay on, right? And it doesn't have to be a full bed. It can be made out of pallets. It's not a big issue for us, right? Of course, this has nothing to do with how we want to live. It's just, it's simpler. It's like forcing a guy to wear ties when he doesn't like to wear ties. It's here, you were talking about your man, Nomsa, he was comfortable with the shoes. And when you were talking, I'm thinking about mocassin, and I love wearing mocassin. You know what? I wear mocassin all the time. And I even got myself a pair of fancy mocassin, like dress mocassin, so that I can wear them when I go out, because they're bloody comfortable. It's as if you're walking barefooted. And what's more comfortable than that, right? Of course, that was very considerate of him to ask you what you're wearing so that you can match. And that is something that you're looking for in a relationship. It's not about the materialistic. It's not about how tall they are. Maybe some people have requirements, yes, and it's understandable. However, this does not define how the relationship will work. Most importantly is everything that we spoke about. It's being yourself, is being understanding, being willing to accept differences in people, and allowing that first date to go however it is, no distractions, looking down at, ooh, nice legs there, you know, be present. That's the whole thing, being present in the first date. I remember quite a few first dates that I've had. I can actually count 2 of them out of the women that I had in my life. And these are the most memorable dates that I've ever had. And they're memorable because there were no distractions. The only thing that mattered was us two communicating, having fun, enjoying the meal, making fun of ourselves, making fools of ourselves. I remember actually in one of them, we had finished dinner and then we were talking about animals, and I do quite a good impression of an ape. And so I started rolling in the grass like an ape and making sounds. And we went back, sitting down and just having a laugh, talking for the rest of the night. We didn't do anything. We spent the whole night up until it was 5 o'clock in the morning, just chatting and talking and listening to music. These are the memorable moments that you want to have in your relationships. Yes, it was a spark. Yes, it was a click. Not all dates will be like that. Like Nomsa said, maybe the first date there's no spark, but maybe you find things that connect you with each other. Values, maybe simple things, jokes, the way, the mannerisms, how a person talks to the waiter or the waitresses, how they eat, how they present themselves, anecdotes if they have any. All of these little things create that relationship, because these are the things that you want in your relationship, right? The purpose behind that relationship is that you have that continuously. It's not going to last like that forever. Not saying you can have it all the time, but it's being able to have those maybe 5 minutes per day and being able to sit down. Hey, honey, so tell me about your day. And and this person, you have a laugh about it. And then, okay, so this is my day and blah, blah, blah. And you have a laugh about it. And then you've spent those 5 days, those 5 minutes, sorry, as if it was a short date, right? That's what you want in that relationship. You want that connection. You want to be able to sit down and be silly if you have to. Sit down and be serious, right? And so this is what we aim to do at Hope Spring. It's so long. Hesia. It's easier for me. This is what we do. We create that family environment with each other as coaches and with our clients so that they can have the correct guidance and have the right hand that holds their hand along the way. Right, Shireen?
Oh, definitely. I just love where conversations go, and I really think it's such an important thing when you're going on a date. As one, I'm always thinking, who are you dressing for, and what are you dressing for? And these are really important things, because this is where we take accountability and we take our power, right? If we're going because we're insecure and we can't trust ourselves and we worry that this person's not going to like us or whatever, then we're more likely to show boobies, right? We're more likely to go to that place which is going to say, well, I have to do what I have to do, instead of going to the place where we kind of really use ourself, our being, as the bit that we want to show people, rather than the other way around. And I think that that's such an important thing. And to know that that's safely there, that we're putting those safeguards in there for you, is a really powerful statement that Hope Springs Eternal is bringing for most of the clients, right? We're encouraging that place of safety. We're encouraging you to be in that space where you can be yourself and you can learn about yourself and learn strategies and skills to begin to create those relationships that you want to create. You have to be able to start from the place of really modeling out what it is that you want. So if you want people to be respectful to you, you would need to understand what might be some of the running patterns for them. Sex is a great pattern for men, really, seriously. From an evolutionary perspective, they got to hurt out as many women as they can. So they're always wondering, right? So it doesn't matter. It doesn't help that testosterone is cyclical and it just gives a man an erection every 3 to 5 seconds or whatever. It does. It definitely does, certainly when there's a hot chick around. So it's really important to understand this and to understand if you want to move beyond that, you've got to dress in a way that's going to allow you to command a different form of attention and to command a different response that is going to be the future response or the future creation or the future relationship that you want to have. So it's really about thinking about those kinds of things. Am I dressed in the way I need to be dressed? Am I dressed in a way that when someone looks at me, they know that they can see my intentions, who I am, what I am? Because I'm going with the hope, with the dream of creating a relationship. I'm not going, if I wanted to be an escort girl, that's what I could be. But no, here is about relationships. Here it is about developing not only a relationship with yourself, but a new relationship with someone else. And the model that we're creating here is about showing you, we're modeling for you how we want you to be in life, right? So when we come on, when we turn up, when we arrive and we speak on here, and you meet some of the coaches, that's what you've got to be looking at, is how are you able to model your coach so that you can see they're the living examples of what Hope Springs stands for, right? And with love, care, with attention, with absolute regard for you. This is what it's all about. And, Nomsa said, we've got a health and safety. We have rules that really do protect you and protect the coaches. So this is something that you perhaps, and I'm going to probably say you won't get from anywhere else. So to be really honest, this is a real gift that when you arrive here, you get to be taken as part of the family, and you evolve into something that creates far more richness in your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there we are. So I'm realizing the time is going.
Yeah, Happy. Do you have anything to say before we go?
Just one more thing, just one little sentence really about what we spoke about today and what we all stand for as Hope Spring. I think it's more, for me, it's been oneself and understanding what the individual is about way before they come into us. If they did, we will sort of help them understand that, because I think there's a learning to be learned from that, just understanding yourself and what you stand for, what your values are. And from then you can then be who you are. Like, I can then help you even with the styling, and Kamal and Sharon, you could help them with your life coaches and things like that. But I think the sort of main point is, once the individual understand themselves, and then they want to learn and be able to express themselves as an individual, because I think we get all distracted about what should be and how you should wear, and this is what should be and shouldn't be. But I think everyone is an individual. I think that's what I've learned in my whole experience with the Hope Spring, is everyone is an individual, and we all look at things, and we all look at life and our values and our goals, and all that matters. So I think as an all-rounder, if the person that we're dealing with is an individual and they've learned to understand themselves and they are being themselves, and then it's easy for us to transition that to the next level, because they've found, they've got an idea of what they want to be and what their style wants to be. So we're not infringing on what we think is right and what we think the society deems as right, but we are just helping them be who they want, who they are, in the best possible way. I think that's sort of the way forward, really. It's not about us telling people what should be and what's right and what's wrong. It's just about sort of accepting and dealing with people who understand themselves, and just trying to help moving forward, and not sort of infringing our expertise or what we think is right on them, but for them to sort of come up and be themselves. So it's a bit of confidence, and also just a self-awareness thing in the same time, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. Also, my words of encouragement will be, if you are a man and woman and you're looking for love, and in a safe way, Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency is for you, as long as you understand your role. Because to join, if you join a matchmaker, you have to understand as a woman what you are looking for, and as a man what you're looking for. Because any matchmaker you join, there are no games. There's no time where you play games with somebody else's child. We are straightforward. Matchmaking is a very, very straightforward process. We get to know you, and you tell us your story. We relate to your story. We sympathize. We connect, and you pay us, and we do the work. The work is not easy, but with your help, we get there eventually. So that's what we do. I'm not going to sit here and say, wow, it's very, very easy to match somebody, because we don't do the work. It's easy for us. When we go out, it's easy. We can select the person that we think is right for us. But for a client, it's not easy, because they have to, there's so many emotions that are going on. Some people have not been into dating scene for a long time. So those are the things they have to go through. That's why we have coaches. We make things very smooth and very easy for you. And how much do we charge? Hope Springs and any other matchmakers is not cheap. So it can cost you from zero up to 1 million to find a match, because sometimes some people, they're based in the United Kingdom, and they want to hire the team to go and search maybe USA or other countries, or simply they have specific individuals' needs, what they are looking for. So everything is tailored to where you are, the demographic, where you want to cover, where you want us to cover. If you want to focus on one city, it's going to be tailored. Your membership will be tailored to that until you find that special person. If you do, you can freeze your membership, and then for 3 months or 2 months to see how things go. And if things goes well, then you cancel your membership, you move on with your life. You invite us to the wedding. We're always happy to come to the wedding. Any words of encouragement, Shireen and Kamal?
I think the most important thing, and I think what's really been relevant here today, is learning very much about this is going for a matchmaker or going to create a relationship. We got to have a relationship with ourselves first. So know what we want, know who we are and what we like and what we don't like, who we are and who we're not, and really get a sense of, the idea, this is what I stand for. And when we know what we stand for, what happens is we often are not inflexible. What we stand for is allowing others to stand for themselves too, right? And part of that is also giving a sense of flexibility, which is really interesting, because very often we don't think about how flexible we must be, because when two people are coming together, we have to change some patterns so that you can form a relationship together. So some things, there's a lot of agreements that have to be formed, and a lot of things that have to shift. So I think that that's really important when you start thinking about a relationship, to really have those things. So this is where a coach is so important. And, Happy was talking, yes, it's always about being self-evolved first, so that you can then have an evolved relationship with the person that you want to be with. So that's sort of my thing. Have coaching before you even start anything.
Kamal?
Well, I mean, Shireen, you summed it really all up, and it's not easy to follow those. However, here is my quote of the day, since I'm used to giving quotes, and it's from somebody I really admire, and it's Carl Jung. And he says, as far as we can discern, the sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light in the darkness of mere being. And so with these words, I just tell you, be yourself, understand that you are a light, understand that we are all here to light a path and help each other. These are going to be my words for today.
Sorry, just before you say that, that also then brings me to the other idea, is how we kindle a light in someone else, right? So when you go on a date, you're going to find that light, right?
Don't give them all the answers.
No. Thank you for that. That was lovely.
Oh yeah, thank you so much, guys. And if you're watching this video, it's going to be on the website. And if you happen to enter our website, we haven't got James Pierce today. Joe Burnett, she's not here, and Rachel G, and who else is not here?
Carol Ann.
Yeah, who else is not here? Carol Ann. Carol Ann actually has not given me the permission to put her.
Right.
And who else is not?
Claudia.
Claudia, yeah. And other people that I might have left out. So they're not here because there was a last minute call. They're busy with clients. So yeah, if you're watching us, just join the agency. If you want to join the agency, if you are a man, the process is very, very simple. I come to your house where you feel comfortable, and you tell me your story, how I can help you, and you sign up, you get your credit card out, and do the payment. Of course, we don't have a paying planet with the matchmaking because the work has to be done straight away, and there is so much involved. So everything, the money is paid in full. And once you pay, we begin the work. We get to do the work. It's not glamorous, but we begin the work for you. And also we go on dates as well with the clients, mini dates. The reason why we go mini dates now, I'm gonna have to tell you. I have to say what you guys behave how you gonna treat me when we go on dates, these mini dates, is the way you're going to treat my women. So I always come out. I always look out for you guys. Open doors for Nomsa, see. So yeah, teach my clients to be nice. Yeah, how you behave with me and how you behave with everybody else out there in a restaurant is how you're going to treat your woman. And also to give you the confidence, because if you are sitting with the people that your coaches and having a drink and chatting and they want you to be happy, and that's what you're going to do. You're going to want to be really happy. You're not going to hold back. So we help you not to hold back, to show your feelings, or show what you want as a man. You are a provider. So what does a provider do? A woman is a provider when you show up. You show up as a big man and say, you know what, if you want to be my woman, I'm here for you and I'm going to take good care of you. So we don't do this thing where independent woman, where when you go out on dates, you show men that, you know what, I'm independent. If a man is willing to take good care of you that night, so we always encourage women to let a man be a man. That's why we do it, Hope Springs Eternal Introduction Agency. And your day, if you get along well, and you want to take them out for a date, and as a woman, independent woman, then you can pay for them. There's plenty of time. But we encourage culture, the old generation, our fathers, how they took good care of their women, and also our women, how they embraced that. It's so nice when somebody is actually pampering you for the day as a woman and showing you that you're special. And those times we want that woman, man, to remember them and tell their children, this is how I met your mom, or if they want to have them, or if they don't want to have children, just to tell the story. It's nice when you meet people and they say, how did you meet? And that's the story we are looking for. Trust me, women, the day for you to pay for your portion is always there. Thank you so much, guys. And if you are looking to join the agency, please join the agency. And we're looking forward to work with you if you do join us. And God bless. Live with grace.